And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy.
I don't want you to protest, I don't want you to riot, I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value!
Get together, have a few laughs.
Week 1 of the Iowa Talk Guys.
Welcome to the show.
April 10th, 2022.
The year of our Lord.
Week 1.
Yep. Here's the pilot episode. If you're listening to this, thank you, first of all. Second of all,
I'm talking to Teepee.
I'm talking to Theo. We got Erock over here with the logistics end.
We got the nerd over here.
Yep. He's got his nerd glasses. Point Dexter. That's what we should change his name to.
And he's in a cover band, so
yeah,
extra nerdy. So he's got the instrument talent.
So needless to say, sorry ladies, he's taken. All right, so just back off.
Yeah.
All right. So, and he knows how to fix a headlight on a vehicle. I've seen it. It's true.
Impressive.
He's a handyman when he wants to be.
All right.
So, all right. Well, I guess we should probably start off with the mission statement of our show, right? What we're about.
Do we actually have one?
Yeah, kind of. I guess I do, but you guys may not. But I like to, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. Never have been, never will be. I just like to learn. I know we all do. So I want, want to help educate other people along the way while we're getting educated ourselves and stuff too. So, we're just on a quest for truth here, wherever it may lead, and we want other people to follow us because I think, it's about time. People are starting to wake up to stuff. They're starting to see the writing on the wall, which guys like us have been researching for years, right?
Well, not in any professional degree, right?
Well, as far as research can go on an amateur level, to the point where it completely changed our views of the way of the world, right?
Right. Here's the thing. Anybody can tell that we're being lied to right now. There's a massive lie campaign out there.
Absolutely.
They've been caught time after time, whether it's presidential candidates getting pissed on or whether it's magic bullets that travel
through multiple people and then explode heads.
Shit that when you tried telling your kindergarten teacher, you were called a liar.
Right, yeah. You had to go to the principal's office.
Right, for lying.
And for being disruptive in class, right? Not going along with the agenda of the rest of the class, right? So, yeah, for real, though, honestly, and part of that, I think a lot of people are waking up, and they want to wake up to a degree, but there's also a lot of people that don't want to wake up because being stuck in your own little fantasy world where nothing bad outside your window is going on because you're too busy worrying about what's happening on Grand Theft Auto Online or Fortnite.
Is that still a game?
Yeah. Or
GTA.
GTA Online is actually still going pretty strong.
Keep that thought. Wasn't that was revolutionary at the beginning of the century?
Honestly, it's still going. Like,
was that Erock?
The game is. Can you look that up for me? How
created by some kind of convict or something.
Rockstar? Well, that game was released in like 2002,
3,
12. No, I want to say that came out on Xbox 360.
I'm talking like Vice City.
Oh no, you're going all the way back to the original Grand Theft Auto 1 or 3. 3 was the big one that really broke out, huh?
Top down.
Yeah, originally the first two were like a top-down platform playing like a scroller.
I just remember driving around a virtual, pretty much Miami.
Yeah, that was Vice City.
And listening to Hall & Oates and shit, Flock of Seagulls.
Oh, dude, yeah, there's no doubt about it that the soundtracks have always been a hit on the Grand Theft Auto games. But you know what? I mean, hey, look, I was in that cognitive dissonance state, too, where it was, and I was honest, I'll be honest about it, video games were an escape from reality. Because, at the time there was stuff going on in my life that was just, depressing as hell, and in order to escape reality and my responsibilities as a man, as an adult, I would just play video games because, I could win. Dude,
it's still fun to do from time to time.
From time to time, it can be a stress reliever, but like
every day.
I think about this though. Okay, so when Call of Duty 4 first came out, that the modern warfare revolutionized first-person shooters with all this crap. Okay, great game, fantastic game. I literally got addicted to it. It was bad. I was within the first 5,000 people in the world to get level 10 prestige. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
That's playing a lot of Call of Duty. Right?
Playing a lot of Call of Duty. Yeah. Look how much I have to show for it.
You're trying to podcast in a garage now. Congratulations.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, because I snapped out of that where I was not adding any value to my life whatsoever. That was devaluing my life. And actually it caused issues between my wife and I because I got, so addicted to video games that I was neglecting other responsibilities and stuff. And she was like, hey, moron, you're married. You have a kid. We have stuff we got to do. I was still going to work and paying bills, but that was about it, right? So
speaking of going to work and paying bills, TP.
Oh, which might be getting a little harder.
Let's start at the beginning though. We'll start at the beginning, not of the recent monetary revelation of Russia attaching their currency to a precious metal. We'll get back to that, but if I understand it correctly, it's not much more complicated than in the United States. The 5 largest banks are in a cooperative agreement or a cartel agreement.
That's a good way to put it.
And they have control of all the nation's money supply, right? And it's called the Federal Reserve.
Yes.
This is like the city banks and whatnot.
Yeah.
And anytime Congress needs... Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, which is not a part of the federal government.
Right. Or a reserve of any kind. So...
It's a printing press.
So anytime Congress wants to spend money, which...
is all the time. Every second of the freaking day.
Every shadow...
Look at go to the debt clock. How much debt are we... How much money we blown through a second?
Chime in when you find that.
Please.
But every little shadowy part of the government loves just spending as much money as they can. So when it's like, $3.5 trillion of not our money, these bankers literally create this line of credit and lend it at interest to Congress, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at interest.
So what kind of a figure are you looking at right now?
Well, the U.S. national debt is up to, that's in the trillions. 30 trillion.
Cool.
And it's going by the seconds. We're just blowing through it.
So $30 trillion. And that's because right in the 30s, there was a detachment from gold.
Yes.
They couldn't finance massive pet projects while having currency attached to gold, so they had to detach it. And then it was finally closed in 1971, right?
With the creation of the Petrodollar by Nixon.
And the closing of the gold window, right?
Right.
You're receiving gold.
So there were some other factors that played in account there. World War II, So
I've got the Dallas News opinion definition right here. On August 15th, 1971, President Richard Nixon closed the gold window, meaning the U.S. government would no longer honor its promise to redeem dollars for gold presented by foreign central banks. This ended the international monetary system known as Bretton Woods, 1946, John Maynard Keynes.
which I was getting at too.
Which prevailed since the end of World War II.
So, yeah, end of World War II. So Europe was devastated due to war, right? The only attack that happened on U.S. soil was Pearl Harbor, and then that sabotage that happened in New York Harbor.
Well, there was also some stuff in the Aleutian Islands, I think, too.
Well, okay.
Not
but
exactly on
it
the
wasn't
continent,
anything.
right?
Yeah, it wasn't anything that completely devastated our industrial sector, right? So, the U.S. dollar was pretty strong at the end of World War II. Like I said, we had an industry, and in order to, so they banded together in the Geneva Convention or the Bretton Woods Agreement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bretton Woods, New Hampshire,
Yeah.
right? Or Vermont, one of those.
Fact check us on that, Erock, please. So they
Bretton Woods, New Hampshire.
all of Europe pretty much decided, like, hey, we're gonna pool our gold together and put it in the U.S. with the U.S. Treasury, which will increase the value of the dollar. Then we can use that dollar to help rebuild Europe. Right. Which makes sense, okay? But they did this on the promise. It was a handshake agreement that the U.S. we promised the government. We
Just trust us.
promise we're not going to print too much money than we have, than what this is worth, what they agreed upon, what the worth is, which I can't remember what they agreed upon at that time. It doesn't really matter. Fast forward, a couple decades to
30 trillion we just...
the Vietnam War.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Just a couple decades, and this war machine that is the U.S. military-industrial complex is wreaking havoc through frickin' North Vietnam. Right? And they're
winning every battle.
Well, according to military intelligence, yeah, they won every battle. Okay. But just look at the capabilities that they had. All these crazy new war machines, all the stuff that they had improved upon since the World War II. It made it blatantly obvious to the rest of the world that the U.S. was printing more money than they had in gold. They're like, dude. So finally in the 70s, France, out of all countries, was the first country to have enough balls to go out to the U.S. and be like, we want our gold back.
I'm one of those few people that think that the French are pretty badass from time to time, man.
From time to time. They can be. Anyway, but France, like I said, was the first country to ask for their gold back. All that gold that we supposedly have in Fort Knox doesn't belong to the U.S. That was most likely all of Europe's gold in there and stuff. Don't quote me on that. I can't prove that. But anyway. And then
for entertainment purposes only.
For entertainment purposes only. So then Nixon... told the Secretary of the Treasury, no, we're not, because France was like, we want our gold back, and Nixon was like, no, I don't think so, because that would have been devastating on the economy, right? So what they did, Nixon, with that powerful military that they had created, and showed the world that they can, turn any object into a nail, and they're the hammer that they can smash down.
They can drop some bombs.
They can drop some bombs, bro.
on Southeast Asia.
Yeah. Boom, and some Agent Orange. So so Nixon made a deal with the Saudis and all these OPEC countries, the Saudi Arabians, and the U.S. November 27th. Oh, what is this? Nixon signs the Emergency Petroleum Act. Yep, Allocation Act authorizing price, production, allocation, and marketing controls. Arab oil ministries agreed to another 5% production cut for non-federally countries in January 1974. So okay.
What's that source?
That was a Wikipedia source, but Bloomberg down here. Bloomberg.
Our source from Bloomberg.
Yeah. We'll get better on our sources. So, anyways, so Nixon made this deal with the Saudis. He said, if you only trade oil in U.S. dollars and U.S. bonds, then we'll back you up militarily. We'll which is really funny because like when they were saying Saddam Hussein was this bad guy doing all this bad stuff to his own people, and then you look at what the Saudis are doing, and it's the same stuff almost.
Well, he was a nice little buffer in between Saudi Arabia and Iran too, right?
Yeah. He,
Iraq there.
He was a very useful tool for the U.S. government until he wasn't anymore.
And the Saudis.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So that's a whole other. We can get into a whole other podcast on that. So the petrodollar is any U.S. dollar paid to an oil exporting country in exchange for oil. The dollar is the permanent global currency currently right now, world reserve. As a result, most international transactions, including oil, are priced in dollars. Oil exporting nations receive dollars for their exports, not their own currency. In addition, most oil exporting nations own their own oil industries. That makes their national income dependent on the dollar's value. If it falls, so does their government's revenue. As a result, most of these oil exporting exporters also peg their currency to the dollar. That way, if the dollar's value falls, so does the price of their domestic goods and services. That helps these countries avoid wide swings in inflation or deflation, allegedly. So also just a little bit more history about the petrodollar. A deal was signed in 1944, the Bretton Woods Agreement. Okay, so on February 14, 1945, President FDR initiated the alliance with Saudi Arabia. He met with Saudi King Abdullah al-Aziz, and the United States built an airfield in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, in return for military and business training. This alliance was so critical that it survived subsequent years of differences of opinion over the Arab-Israeli conflict. So, and then what we were getting at with Nixon in 1971, many countries asked to redeem their U.S. dollars for gold, and in order to quote unquote protect the U.S. dollar, their President Richard Nixon removed the dollar from the gold standard. The United States uses the power of the petrodollar to enforce its foreign policy. But many countries don't fight back. They're afraid it would mean the collapse of the petrodollar system, allegedly, or they just can't fight back. I mean, look at our U.S. military. It's a killing machine, right? So, for example, the United States sanctioned Iran for refusing to halt its development of potential nuclear weapons, which that's a whole other thing we're going to get into, is why Iran hates us so much. That's a very interesting story. But similarly, it hit Russia with trade embargoes for invading Crimea and creating the crisis in Ukraine, or now the war in Ukraine, which we'll get into that also in another episode, because the embargoes that we put on really didn't do much of anything but help strengthen Russia as far as my research goes. But anyway, China called for a replacement for the U.S. dollar as the global currency a few years ago. But ironically, China is one of the largest foreign holders of the dollar, and China influences the U.S. dollar by pegging its currency, the yen, to it. So it's a very interesting symbiotic relationship, and things could get a little hairy here coming up soon.
So anyway, what we're getting to here is that this global dominance is pretty much coming to an end because the Russians and the Chinese, as far as current monetary theory, in comparison to current monetary theory, they've ripped a page right out of Adam Smith's book and applied it, right?
Adam Smith.
Well, hard money. So they recently, the crux of what we were just about to talk about here is that the Russians pinned 5,000 rubles, I want to say 5,000 rubles, to 1 gram of gold. So now, if you invest in their currency, you're getting a hard inflation.
Play the clip.
Play the clip. Inflation.
Yeah, we gotta find a clip for you. I have my own. You gotta find one. Inflation
Resistant. Sort of
currency.
To a degree, currency. And as a result of the sanctions of them invading Ukraine, which is a whole other thing that we need to talk about there because...
Yeah, that's another episode.
Yeah, I guess I'll throw out that's a really good argument can be made that that's a more defensive move than the United States has ever made. I mean, made in anybody's lifetime. For the most part, World War II generation, there's obviously...
Oh, wow.
A whole different ball game there, but Vietnams and Koreas and
and Iraqs and
Afghanistans, and Grenadas, and Libyas,
Somalias,
and Syrias,
and Malis,
and Zimbabwe's, and
oh my gosh, Lebanon,
and go on down the list,
dude. Sorry, joke's on us.
Yeah.
That's why we're laughing. All right. But, okay, and yeah, real quick, just hitting back to that, though. The importance of that petrodollar was that forced the rest of the world to purchase oil with only U.S. dollars. So they had to exchange their currency for U.S. dollars to buy gold, which meant the U.S. dollar would always be in circulation somewhere in the world. That's keeping it afloat.
If you need oil to motor your economy,
which is everywhere,
which is the reason most of us didn't die in the first 2 years of our lives.
Well, we're not living like the Aborigines in Australia anymore. You know?
Is because the dollar was in circulation and people were holding on to it, right?
Right, yeah.
This is the only way that you buy crude oil from the Saudis.
They had to keep it in circulation. They had to keep it in their bank accounts. Other countries, but that time is coming to an end here, and with the U.S. Okay, so you look at the last countries that were a direct threat to the U.S. dollar, which one of them was Iraq, because remember, he wanted to move away from selling. He was an OPEC country. He wanted to move away from selling oil to euros.
The argument is that he did begin selling oil in euros. Saddam Hussein, to be precise, right?
Yeah, in 2002.
Prior to the invasion.
Yeah, in 2002. And then by 2003, we were invaded. And
we were invaded?
No, we invaded. We invaded them. Yeah, we were invaded by the Nazis that did it, Operation Paperclip.
A whole other deal.
Well, that actually was the CIA that brought them in, I should say the OSS. That was before the CIA was created. But
whole other story.
Whole other story, yeah. I'd like to get some authors on the show from books that wrote some books about some of this stuff to interview.
It'd be really good as well as authors would be sponsors.
Oh, yeah.
Sponsors would be great. We're going to try to talk our ass off like a bunch of scotch drinking
red-blooded
rednecks.
Americans.
Red-blooded American.
Red-blooded rednecks.
I was gonna say
American. Yeah. I mean, and hey, also just to let everybody know, we don't really have political views. I mean, we have opinions about politics.
Speak for yourself, Teepee.
Well, okay, I'm just going to say this. Nobody here in this room is an R or D, so.
I might still be registered as one of them, but.
Are you really?
I might.
I've been registered as Green Party since I was 18. But, I mean, because that's when I was like, Ralph Nader's going to legalize weed, man. We got to get him on board with this guy, dude. Oh, dude, that'd be, you know what? You know what would be really fun? We should get Ralph Nader on this show, dude.
I'm sure he's pretty busy, but that'd be pretty cool.
What's he busy?
If we got people like Ralph Nader on this show, I bet the sponsor thing would happen.
Yeah. Well, what's Ralph been busy with lately?
Is Ross Perot still alive? Because that would be really interesting.
I don't know. Okay, Erock. I literally just told you not to be using Google, and you're okay, Google.
On July 9th, 2019, and the place of death is Dallas, Texas.
Was
Ross?
Apparently he's dead.
Perot, he died in 2019?
I guess.
A giant sucking sound.
Well, hey.
You're going to hear a giant sucking sound.
This is the last time you'll ever hear that wench Siri on our frickin' show.
You want to hear that?
No. Don't ever use Google in my presence again. What are you, some type of communist? For real, though. Don't use Google, dude. Please DuckDuckGo stuff. Because then
I thought I just saw something recently that DuckDuckGo's compromised too now. So
is it really? Look that up. See if it is. I don't know.
Look it up, nerd.
This freaking idiot.
So basically,
I didn't mean that.
So basically, what the United States government has walked us right into is economic devastation. As most people would, the thing I got going for me is that I could live in a teepee and be happy.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot of people who don't realize like how readily available we've had simple shit like
running water,
electricity,
heat,
vehicles,
AC.
People in the rest of the world don't really feel bad for our high gas prices because they've been paying this shit for fucking ever.
They've been paying like $3 for
they
a
don't
liter.
give a fuck. They don't feel bad for you. And then, oh, by the way, like if we get into a position where we really need help, like food shortages and shit like that, they don't care. We've thrown food away forever.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. So I worked at a fast food joint once, okay? 2 weeks, my whole life. It was the worst job I probably ever had. Not because the job was hard. The job was super easy. Just dumb easy, right?
I still managed to mess mine up because I was, getting stoned. That was when I started getting stoned.
That was the problem with the other employees is they were. That's why it was a terrible place to work because the other employees were just.
Big Mac, please.
Not you though, huh? You just made the Big Mac.
Well, I had to walk there because my car was broke down for that 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I would, by the time I would get there, I was completely sober. So I had to walk that off. Right? No, anyway. No, it was ridiculous, dude. But at the end of the day, if we had a surplus of food.
Let's toss it.
Just throw it away. I'm like.
Dumpster.
Yeah, I was like, well, can I get one of these burgers if we're going to toss them? The manager's like, well, you got to buy it. I'm like, so we'd rather throw in the trash. I'm like, what if we took this down to like King's Harvest? And they're like, no, you just throw it away.
What's King's Harvest?
That, there's a ministry in downtown Davenport, sorry. That's
no
food kitchen, soup kitchen.
That's an animal.
So
is that an animal one?
So are we disclosing where we're at?
Oh, well, are we going to talk about local news or are we going to have local?
That's what I'm wondering. Well,
we're in the QCA. Yeah, why not? Come find us.
I just figured we're going to cut most of this part out. But.
Who cares? Anyway, boom, Theo. So let's get into this ruble in the gold standard. So what else? What else does this mean?
Well, it means that the cost of goods and services for every American are about to raise significantly.
Yeah, that's so right now, obviously,
or it's going to take more dollars
yes.
to obtain them,
which is inflation.
Yes.
Okay, so we're already witnessing inflation. They've been telling us about this inflation. And part of this inflation being created also that's happening is, in my personal opinion, it's man-made. We've been having these how many years of quantitative easing and this giant bubble just being built.
Wasn't that a 2008 term that was when that was really mainstreamed?
Obama.
Quantitative easing.
Thanks, Obama.
Quantitative easing. Well,
yeah.
No. Ben Bernanke.
Oh yeah. The Fed, he was running the Fed at that time.
Helicopter
it was his
Ben.
idea, yeah.
Helicopter Ben.
But it was due to the Obama administration.
Timothy Geithner.
Wow, yeah. Man. Look at you taking us down a trip down memory lane.
Yeah, I mean, it was,
well,
it was more than a decade ago. That's crazy to think about.
It's made such an impact now, and then people forget all this stuff, dude.
The term quantitative easing was coined by a German economist, Richard Werner, who was visiting fellow at the Bank of Japan in 1995. Werner advocated quantitative easing as a way to overcome limitations of the bank interest rate policy. The Bank of Japan, however, only introduced QE March 19, 2001 until 2006, yada, yada, yada. So it was invented by an American in Japan. That's all according to Wikipedia.
Stop. We can't use Wikipedia. If you can't use it for a college grade essay, we're not going to use it for... This is entertainment purposes, but yeah. People are going to listen to this and be like, they're using Wikipedia as a source. I'm not listening to these morons. Because that's what I would do.
Well, people use the U.S. government as a source, so...
They're called boomers.
Jen Psaki goes out there spitting truth.
Oh, yeah.
She said something the other day to the effect of like, as we are all advising you, like telling the media. I can't remember exactly what it was, but like telling the media, this is your truth.
Trust your government. Government is your God. That's So, remember back in the 60s?
No, I was not born. I was born in the 80s. So.
Yeah, I wasn't either. I wasn't even a sperm then. But anyway, so there used to be only 8 channels on TV, on broadcast television? Right?
Something like that.
Okay.
On the airwaves.
On the airwaves. And then they would shut them down.
Analog.
Yep. They would shut them down at 11 o'clock midnight or whatever it was. Okay. And they would always play the national anthem. And they would show all these monuments in Washington, D.C., and they would have the lyrics. They would just have the music playing for the national anthem, and they would have the lyrics scrolling across the bottom. They would literally scroll across left to right, okay? Well, now, in today's technology that we have, some people found that when they slowed those clips down, there was other words being pushed in front of the lyrics, which...
Are you bullshitting right now?
Can you, dude? Look it up right now. That guy Bert, what's his name? That got punched in the face by Buzz Aldrin. He did a really good video on it. But anyway, and it says messed up stuff like trust your government, government is your god, blah 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 blah. And it was like scrolling out in front of.
This is in the 60s and whatnot.
Yeah. This is straight up MK Ultra era stuff, right?
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. It was like it's. Should be able to pull up that clip.
So programming, get a nationalist programming.
Yeah, that's complete, brainwashing.
Vietnam.
Yeah.
I've only ever been to Washington, D.C. once, and it seemed to me like one massive memorial to a death cult. You know what I'm saying?
Say that again.
It's like a memorial to a death cult. Like a bunch of effigies for some death cult. It's like, yeah, we lost 58,000 in this one. I'm not trying to minimize.
No.
58,000 young men, and maybe there were some women in Vietnam. I don't know if that ever happened. If there was a female casualty, but yeah, but no. Here, let's put their names on a black granite wall. Like it's worth it.
Well, was it?
Well, I think I can conclusively say no.
Especially when we know now. I mean, in the Gulf of Tonkin incident was
based on fabrications and half truths at best.
Yeah, false flag, so to say. Right? Didn't actually happen, but and that's the whole messed up thing, dude. It pushed the whole country into war, and then they didn't have volunteers like they did during World War II because we weren't attacked, right? So then they did what's even the more messed up thing. Let's draft all these young men to go fight in a war that they don't have any.
I think they're called conscripts, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what they're called?
I don't know. Is it?
That's what they're called. Like when it happens in the Soviet Union. So.
Oh yeah. But here in America, since we're not commies, we
draftees. We give them the honor of a draft horse, right? Not I don't know.
A draft horse.
Some conscript Russian soldier, for God's sakes.
Government subliminal messaging. Here it is. That's what it is. Subliminal messaging.
Subliminal messaging. Oh, it's not available.
They're fucking with me subliminally.
All right. Do I need to send this to you, Erock? So it's playing. This is what they use to broadcast.
Keep in mind that our listeners cannot see.
Right. It's just pictures of,
It's a beautiful American flag.
Flag waving in the wind. You had the Golden Gate Bridge.
Beautiful subtitles that I can't read.
Yeah. Over the land of the free.
Over the land.
And the home of the brave. Why is there a question mark at the end of it? Notice that each time the text scrolls, blah, blah, blah.
Look inside this ripple effect. You're going to see words change here kind of in the ripple effect. Trust the U.S. government.
Oh, I see how they're supposed to be like flipping the letters, kind of.
The next one, and this filmmaker, I'll put a link to this. God is real. God is watching. Now, it's not in the words itself. It's in the transition of the words where
Yeah, it's in the transition of the words when they change. Dude, there's been brainwashing and subliminal messaging being done to us since being alive right here, since we've been born and being fed PBS and other horse schnight, Disney and all this other crap. Look how much subliminal messaging and shit's in there, dude.
Yeah, there's some awesome nature documentaries on PBS though, right? I mean, these days on YouTube, you can look up like Wyoming PBS. And anyway, sorry to change the subject, but yeah, no,
good.
seriously. I
You
mean,
see where I'm going.
What an absolutely great avenue to program people.
Right. Oh, and then through. How much have you learned about the government since you've been out of school?
Well, more than I learned in school.
Yeah. Why is that?
Well, first of all, I remember the teacher, and I know that you guys remember the name, and we won't name the high school that we went to or anything like that. And yes, all three of us went to the same high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
it smells good.
Yeah, dude, I remember my senior year just getting the impression that dude was a turd nugget, just spewing some bullshit. Like literally saying, like I remember one time he literally said in high school that the Constitution is. And not so many. He didn't say the word antiquated, but he said,
outdated.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard
it's no good anymore.
Like
I mean, it's kind of like the just regurgitated bullshit.
And it's like, why are you teaching American government then, you dummy?
Yeah,
yeah. So the weird thing about that is that that's not an unusual story. So that happened at just our school in Podunk, Iowa, right? So I've talked to people from different states, different times, okay, different older guys that I used to work with. Literally everybody that I've talked to that remembers their government class from school all said the same thing about the teacher. He or she was boring, dull, and they don't remember a thing about that. So it makes me think, like, was that intentional then? Like, the worst teachers that they get, they're like, guess what, you're a government teacher now because you suck, and we don't want these kids learning this trash anyway.
I thought that was most classes, honestly.
No, they had ones and twos, dude. I had some fun in some high school classes.
Well, yeah, but you still fail if you enjoy the class and don't turn homework in.
Like DeSanta passing that law down in Florida now, where they want to start teaching kids accounting and how to fill out like their checkbook and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just the basic financial aptitude in order to graduate high school, I believe, right?
Why that should be everywhere.
Yeah, that's pretty common sense shit. But
I mean, but I was never.
I still
taught
can't.
in school.
Luckily, I married a lady that can, though.
Yeah, I married an Asian woman. She's good with numbers. So.
What?
Yeah, she's good with numbers. That's why she became an accountant. So,
hey, can sniff out value, man.
That's right.
She's a generation away from a village in Southeast Asia, right?
She really is.
I mean, literally.
Yeah, her mom is an immigrant that grew up where her babysitter was a bamboo tree that she was tied to. For real, for like 5 years of her life. Yeah. So it's crazy hearing stories. Yeah, and she's a U.S. citizen now. She knows more about our government and our history than most U.S. citizens do because she had to take all those classes to get her citizenship and stuff. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like, and she loves America. She loves opportunity. But yeah, hearing her story is crazy just about the stuff that she went through when she was growing up. These kids nowadays in our country would have committed suicide. They would have been able to handle it, but that was like unheard of in their village. So, and that's another thing. Actually, Ben Shapiro had a very good talk about that, where he argued that suicide is a very first world upper class problem.
Yeah, I've seen other people write about this subject as well.
Well, yeah, it's very, very interesting. You don't see too many. Cultures where down in Mexico, dude, some of the poorest places I've seen, dude, besides Afghanistan. But those people, they were some of the nicest, happiest people you will ever meet in your life, dude. They're just regular Joes trying to live their life, and they're not all depressed because their phone charger doesn't reach their bed.
You went to Afghanistan on vacation, or?
Yeah, dude, I did it was a good time. It was an exploration.
Beautiful mountain views.
It was good. It was good. We saw some beautiful poppy fields.
Wildlife.
Yeah, interacted with the locals. It was very nice. Yeah. We had a fox. We found a fox in a cave. It was cool.
Nice.
Yep. Lots of dogs, camels.
Do you have a travel agency or anything that you could cite for us?
Yeah, it was the U.S. government. I flew for free.
No passport involved?
No passport, yeah. Yeah, I didn't have to get a passport until I got out, of working for the government.
Index's trigger finger. This here's my passport.
Oh, this is my safety. Oh, yeah, freaking stupid. I hate that part in that movie.
That's Black Hawk Down, by the way.
Yeah, if you didn't know, your childhood sucked. So
Black Hawk Down brings up another excellent segue into, just questions that people don't ask, like, what the hell were we doing in Somalia?
Right.
Like, what interest does the United States government have in Somalia?
Duh, dude. Trying to spread democracy one bullet at a time.
One Black Hawk at a time.
One Black Hawk down at a time. Oh, that's brutal.
It's a really poor joke.
Lord forgive us.
But
oh no, I mean, that was a funny thing too that I learned about Somalia was everybody knows the Rangers were there and stuff, right? Because of that movie Black Hawk Down, and what a lot of people don't know is that the Marines were there. And this was back when...
They were there prior. Then actually there was a withdrawal, right?
Right, yeah. The Marines pulled out, the Army came in.
I believe that the book describes that.
Yes, I believe you're correct. So it was funny. So they used to call the U.S. Marines white sleeves, okay? Because back then the Marines, in their camis, they would roll their sleeves in combat. And, which is just a Marine Corps tradition,
With the, exterior showing, or...
Your arm, your forearm, yeah.
The interior of the
cami
showing.
Yep. So it looked white.
It looked white as opposed to
desert,
whatever
right. Yep.
pattern.
Yeah. So they called them the white sleeves, and the skinnies. Yeah, that's what they called them, right? The Somalians, the enemy combatants, called the U.S. Marines the white sleeves, and they learned real quick not to mess with the white sleeves. You don't hear anything about what happened, with the Marines getting attacked like the Army did, right?
I believe the book explains it was Rangers.
Which are Rangers are, and those guys are nobody to mess with.
And 10th Mountain.
But here's, and I'm not trying to be biased or anything, but Marines are really good at pretty much one thing, and that's just killing everything they see, right? It's just like in Full Metal Jacket, dude, during their Christmas, God has a hard-on for Marines because we kill everything we see. And to show appreciation for this great power that he has, we make sure to keep heaven filled full of fresh souls. Yeah. So, and like I said, Delta and Rangers, they're nobody to mess with either, dude, even back then, right? The skinnies just didn't know. They just know their first few engagements they got in with the Marines just brutally, without fucking hesitation, killed everyone. Yes, please.
Can I pour you a drink?
Yes, sir. Por favor.
It'd be really nice if this Scotch company wanted to advertise for us so we could mention what it was.
Yeah, we're not going to say nothing now, though, because we're gentlemen like that. We don't want to step on their toes.
Yeah.
So, we have really kind of gotten off subject here. This is just a pilot episode. I mean, it's really been a good one. The ruble, this is going to be something we're going to have to address in the further thing. But, yeah, that's about good. Yeah, what a gentleman looking out for me. So, I mean, yeah, I think I'd really like to get somebody that has more information on the subject.
Or on any subject matter, and we can dive in deeper about particular subjects.
Yeah, so we're going to be setting up an email account for people to send some stuff to if you want. Like, if we have any people out here listening that would want to that would have any value that they could add to the show or other people's lives through this media, reach out, right?
Reach out.
We're going to get that created first. Can't reach out yet. Perfect. Thank you. But we will have one guy. What's his name? Oh no.
As far as the other guy, we'll see. We'll name him. We'll see if he wants to come on. See if we can get some content going here. Place to, an avenue to put our little recording here. I think he has one of his own, a platform that we could use to put the stuff on, and then maybe if he wants to come on, we can talk to him. And
yeah, I would. I'd love that to have him on.
We should jam.
Well, this concludes our first episode here on Iowa Talk Guys. We'd like to thank everybody that is listening. Just to let you know, we have more content coming down the pipeline. We're going to try to bring you guys local and current events, and then even some specials that we're working on to try to help educate everybody. So thanks a lot, guys, and enjoy.